Welcome students, welcome to this online series of lectures on operations research. In this lecture, we are going to learn about the solution methods of linear programming problem. One of the two methods, Big M method and two-phase method, we will see in detail in this lecture. So let's start with the lecture. So what is Big M method? As the name indicates, here M indicates the big positive number. It is one of the oldest techniques of solving the linear programming problems. Along with artificial variables, big M positive number we have to introduce in the linear programming mathematical model. Why do we introduce it? Because we can easily solve the linear programming problem with the help of these variables. So let's look into an example. But before that, let's see some of the steps which are involved in this algorithm. So first of all, what we do is in constraints, specifically in simplex method, what the constraints were, they were less than equal to RHS, right hand side. But in Big M method, one of the constraint is greater than equal to RHS, which is right hand side. So specifically for the constraint which are greater than equal to right hand side, we employ Big M method or two-phase method. So first of all, what we will do is we will introduce artificial variable in one of the constraint which has greater than equal to RHS inequality. Right. Next, also you can also employ in equal. Here, if you see here, the constraints of equal to signs can also be added with the artificial variables. In objective functions, we also assign this artificial variable with minus m sign, where m stands for big positive number. And obviously, if we introduce minus m, then it has literally negligible contribution into the objective function. Right. And rest of the steps are same as the simplex method algorithm. It means that whatever the balance equations we have formed, by converting them into standard form, we can easily solve the problem with the help of simplex algorithm. So let's look into an example so that you can understand the concepts of Big M method. So here, first of all, the objective function is given and there are three constraints. The last one is the non-negativity constraint. If you observe here, one of the constraint is greater than equal to RHS, right? This one. So what we mean by that is we can easily employ Big M method or two-phase method. But let's start with the Big M method. So if you convert this into a standard form, x1 plus 3x2 minus s2 plus a1, right? Why we have introduced a1? Because this is artificial variable we have introduced so that its contribution in the objective functions is nullified with the introduction of minus m, big positive number m, right? And the first the constraint x1 plus 3x2 4x1 plus 4x2 plus s1 is equal to 6. Here, as same as the simplex method algorithm where we have the constraints of less than equal to, we introduce this variable, slack variable, right, s1. Clear? So after converting it into standard form, what is the next step? We will convert into a tableau, simplex tableau, for easy solving the problem. Now first of all, what we calculate? We calculate zj and cj minus zj. So how do we calculate that? First of all, let's write down the coefficients here. 4, 4, 1, 0. 4, 4, 1, 0, 0. The coefficients of the objective functions we write on the top. 1, 5, 0, 0, minus m. 1, 5, 0, 0, minus m. Right? The variables are x1, x2, s1, s2 and a1. Now, writing two coefficients of two constraints, how do we find out zj? Let's see. 4, here if you see the quantity is given and the cb, coefficient of basis variable in the objective functions are given. Means s1, what is the coefficient of s1 in objective function? 0. So we write 0 here. Same with a1, it is minus m, so we'll write minus m here. Now we multiply 4 into 0 plus minus m into 1, which is equal to minus m. In the same way, 4 into 0 plus minus m into 3, that is minus 3m. Same way, 1 into 0 plus minus m into 0, that is 0, and accordingly, right? After that, we can calculate cj minus zj. So how do we calculate? Just add 1 plus 1 minus minus m, that is 1 plus m. 5 minus minus 3m, 5 plus 3m, and accordingly, right? Now moving on to next step. First of all, what we will do, we will check the Cj minus Zj. Which one is the maximum one here? Because it's a problem of maximization, we will see the maximum positive number. So 5 plus 3m is the maximum positive number here. So that is our pivot column, right? Now next step is we will divide quantity with pivot column to get the minimum ratio. So how do we do that? 6 divided by 4 is equal to 3 by 2. 2 divided by 3 is equal to 2 by 3. So that is how we get minimum ratio. Clear? Now out of this minimum ratio, which one is the least positive one? The least positive is 2 by 3. So that is our pivot row. Understood? The least positive in the minimum ratio is our pivot row. Now pivot column and pivot row, their intersection is 3. So that is our pivot number. So if you see here, according to this pivot row, this variable A1 is the leaving variable. Leaving variable means in the next table we will remove the variable A1. Next, x2 is the entering variable. So instead of A1 we will write x2. So that is what we will do in the next table. And pivot number is 3. That is the intersection of pivot column and pivot row. Nextly, if you see here instead of A1 we have written x2 because it is the entering variable. Now how do we calculate the new values? These are all the new values of the rows, and here row values, first row and second row. So how do we calculate that? So first of all, the new values of pivot rows, this is pivot row from the previous table. So how do we calculate these new values? Based on this formula, which we have already discussed in the previous lecture. Please refer to the simplex method lecture for further details. So next step is to calculate the top row as well. Based on this formula we can easily calculate this top row. Clear? So why do we do that? We will literally iterate table by table so that we can easily reach the solution. So what is the next step? Next step is to find out the pivot column. So what is the pivot column here? That is the maximum positive number. This is the maximum positive number here, 5 by 3, right? Now what is the next step? We divide quantity by this pivot column to get the minimum ratio. So 10 by 3 divided by 5 by 2. Sorry, 10 by 3 divided by 4 by 3, which is 10 by 4, or you can say 5 by 2. Clear? And here you are getting the negative, so we have neglected that thing. So what is the pivot row here? Pivot row is this row which we have highlighted here, right? And the intersection point 4 by 3 is our pivot point, or you can say the key point. Now what is the leaving variable here? The variable which is corresponding to this row is the leaving variable S1, and entering variable is the S2. So instead of S1 we will write S2. So that is we will do in the next step. So what is the pivot number here? 4 by 3. So here if you see, we have calculated new table values. So how do we do that? Again, the new table pivot point values based on the pivot row we have calculated here, right? In the same way, we have also calculated the second row based on this formula which I have discussed in detail in the previous lecture of simplex method. So based on this, how do we calculate it? Here if you see Zj, how do we calculate Zj? Zj is nothing but 2 into 0 plus 5 into 1, that is 5. Same way 0 into 0 plus 5 into 1 is 5, and accordingly, right? So what is Cj minus Zj? 1 minus 5 is minus 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 minus 5 by 4 is minus 5 by 4, and 0. So if you carefully see here, Cj minus Zj is all negative or 0. So whenever in maximization problem, if you have Cj minus Zj less than equal to 0, then you have reached the optimal conditions, or you can say optimal solution. Hence the optimal solution here, if you see, x2 is equal to 3 by 2. So that is x2 is equal to 3 by 2. And x1, as it is not in this table, it is 0. And z, the value of z is 15 by 2. So in this way, we can easily solve the problem with the help of Big M method. Now let's look into the two-phase method. Now as the name indicates, two-phase method is completed in literally two phases or two sequences, different methods altogether, but they are combined into one. So what do we do in the first phase is that the sum of the artificial variable is minimized subject to the given constraints. So whatever constraints are given, we try to minimize the artificial variable sum. We will look into an example so that you can easily understand. Now what we do is, in the second phase we introduce the original objective function and then we will try to minimize the objective function. Now first of all, in the algorithm steps we will try to find out the standard form of the linear programming problem, and then we convert the constants of inequality into equalities with the introduction of artificial variables. So why do we do artificial variables? Because one of the constants will be of greater than equal to sign. Now we will solve assigning the coefficient -1 to the artificial variable in case of maximization, remember this thing, and +1 for the artificial variable in case of minimization, and 0 to all the other variables, that is in the phase 1. And then we will generally follow the process of simplex method. Finally, if Cj minus Zj rho indicates the optimal solution. Now again, artificial variable appears as a basic variable. If it is appearing in the variable, a basic variable as, then it is LPP as the non-feasible solution. But if artificial variable does not appear as a basic variable, LPP has the feasible solution and we proceed to the phase 2. Now in phase 2 we also introduce the objective function, original coefficients of the objective functions into the table, and then we try to solve the problem. And then we arrive at the optimal solution. So let's look into an example so that you can understand the steps involved. So here is the case of minimization problem of x1 plus x2 subject to two constants and added with the non-negativity constraints. If you carefully see, there are two greater than equal to sign, so we have to use two artificial variables. So in the minus s1 plus a1 we have introduced, right, surplus variable, and the artificial variable we have introduced because of this greater than equal to sign to balance the equation. Same with the second one, a1 and a2. Now these two have no contribution. Here if you see, minimize z, because we have to minimize these artificial variables, and the slack variables have no contribution whatsoever, right? So that is our initial phase, phase 1, and this is the standard form. So we convert into a simplex table for the phase 1. So here if you see, we have written down the coefficients of the objective function and the constraints. Based on that, what is the next step? We calculate Zj. So how do we calculate that? And we have also written down the artificial variable coefficient here as the coefficient of basic variables, 1 and 1. Now next we find out Zj. So how do we find out Zj? 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1 into 1, that is equal to 3. 1 into 1 plus 1 into 7, it is 8, and accordingly, right? So we have found out Zj. So now what is the next step? We find out Cj minus Zj. That is 0 minus 3, that is minus 3. 0 minus 8 is minus 8. 0 minus minus 1 is 1, and accordingly. Now since this is the case of minimization, we will look into the least negative. So what is the least negative one? That is minus 8. So that is our pivot column. Clear? Because it is a minimization case. Then we will divide this pivot column with this quantity. 4 by 1 is 4, 7 by 7 is 1. So we have got minimum ratio. We will look for the least positive number in this minimum ratio to find out the pivot row. So what is our pivot row? That is the least positive number, that is 1. So that is our pivot row. And our pivot number is 7. So what is entering variable here? You can imagine the entering variable is x2 and leaving variable is a2. That is what I have indicated here, entering variable and the leaving variable. And our pivot number is 7. That is the intersection of pivot column and pivot row. In the next step, what we will do? We will calculate the new values of table or rows and columns. So how do we do that? Same way from the big M method, we will repeat it here. We will use the same formula which we have discussed in the simplex method for the new rows, which is derived from the pivot row, right? And with this another row which is based on this formula, right? Now here if you see, a2 is leaving variable, so we will neglect a2 here. We will not calculate a2. Further down, in next step, what we will do? Here if you see, this minus 13 upon 7 is our pivot column. Why? Because this has the minimum value, minimum negative value. So that is Cj minus Zj we have calculated at minus 13 by 7. Now corresponding to that, if we divide quantity 3 divided by 13 upon 7, 21 upon 13. 1 divided by 1 upon 7, that is 7. So out of that, the pivot row, is the one which is the least positive number. Now intersection is 13 by 7, that is our pivot number. Clear? Entering variable will be x1 and the leaving variable will be a1, which is corresponding to the pivot row. So in the next step, what we will do is, we will try to calculate the new rows and new couple of rows which we have introduced because we are iterating to a new table. So based on this formula for the pivot row, new row based on the pivot row and the pivot column. So that is this. Again we will repeat the method we have discussed in the simplex method and BigM method to find out the new values in the table. And finally, all the Cj and minus Zj values, if you see here, are 0. How do we come to that? Know that 1 into 0 plus 0 into 0 is 0. In the same way, 0 into 0 plus 0 into 1 is 0. And accordingly, Cj minus Zj is also 0. Now, artificial variables have also left and Cj minus Zj is 0. So we can proceed to the phase 2. So in phase 2, we have copied down the whole table, but we have also introduced the original objective function, which was x1 plus x2. So what are the coefficients 1 and 1? And the slack variables we have written 0 and 0. We have removed the artificial variable, right? So once we have copied down these whole coefficients, now we also write down the coefficient of basic variables in the objective function, that is 1 and 1 here. Clear? Now if you multiply, we find out Zj. How do we do that? 1 into 1 plus 1 into 0, that is 1. 0 into 1 plus 1 into 1 is 1, and accordingly. And finally, we find out Cj minus Zj, which has come out to be all positive or 0. Since the problem is of minimization, the Cj minus Zj should be positive greater than equal to 0. And we have satisfied here the condition, hence we have arrived at the optimal solution. And the solution is, if you carefully see here, x1 equal to 21 upon 13, x2 equal to 10 by 13, and z equal to 31 upon 13. So in this way, we can solve the problem with the help of BigM method as well and two-phase, but the problem should be of greater than equal to RHS. So right hand side, so if you talk about the constraint, one or two of the constraint should be greater than equal to sign of the right hand side. Thank you very much.